And the fact that he's falling when he's climbing up, going up to his rooftop, there's probably some significant meaning to this. He wants to climb in his power. He wants to climb in his ruling over people. And thank you so much, Yisrael. Such a tzaddik. So here he is, the son of Ahaziah, wants to rule over his area. Okay? And he falls, he's sick. He may be dying. And he wants to know, will he live or not? Instead of turning to the prophet, he turns to this idolatry that's related to Ekron, which is the Plishtim area. And God sends Eliyah, Hanavi, Eliyah Tishbi, go up, Kumalei. Notice? He has a nefila, and Eliyah is asked to go up to and meet up with this unit. There's a unit that's being sent by the king to find out from this idolatry in Ekron, will the king live or will the king die? So you notice in Pasuk Bet Vayipol, you notice in Pasuk Gimel, Eliyahu is told Kum Alei, Aliyah as opposed to Nefila, and the verdict is, what's the matter? Are there no prophets in Israel that you're going to idolatry to get your answer? And therefore, the verdict is, Eliyahu tells this group, go tell your king he's going to die. Okay? They return, and the king says, what are you back so fast? And in Pasuk 6, let's read it again. Vayimru elav ish Allah likratenu. They can't define or recognize who was this person they met. They don't know who Eliyahu is. We said there could be that Eliyahu has been hiding now for a few years, and maybe this group was part of Yehuda, for instance. Nevertheless, we don't know who he is. And he says, because you're going to ask for idolatry and not get an answer from a prophet, therefore, you're not going to fall from your bed, meaning you will not get up and walk around. Okay? The mitah that you went up on, lo tered mimena, you will not go down because you're going to die. You're not going to get off of your deathbed. In Pasuk Zayin, we saw here in chapter 1, verse 7, very, very tough talking of Ahaziah. He doesn't want to accept it. How can it be? Someone's telling me what's going to happen to me? Who is this guy? How do you recognize him? And then describe him. And now it's clear to Ahaziah, this is the prophet that his father, Achav, had a lot of trouble with. This is Eliyah HaTishbi. Interesting that he calls him Eliyah without the Vav, as if he's lacking or missing. And now we see clearly Ahaziah does not accept the verdict from the prophet. What does he do? He sends a commander of 50 soldiers, okay? Sar Chamishim v'Chamishav, with the minister, with the soldiers, and look at this, Vayal Elav. They're going up to Eliyahu. He's in the mountain area. And there he's on top of the mountain. And look in verse 9 how this group speaks without respect, out of chutzpah, giving an order to the prophet. Go ahead and speak with him. Vayidaber elav ish Elohim. You, the man of God, not even calling him his name. Ha-melech diber reida. The king has given an order. Get down from the mountain. Come here, I want to speak with you. Wow. He's acting like a king. A king gives orders. The question is to who? Eliyahu Navi, is that the way you speak to him? How does Eliyahu respond? Verse 10, Vayanel Eliyahu Vayidaber El Sar Chamishim. He says, Vimish Elohim ani. If I'm the real king, if I'm the real prophet, I'm a man of God, you know what's going to happen? Eish tered esh min hashamayim, Yerida. You're going to be affected by a decline. V'tochal otcha v'et chamishecha. You'll be consumed. So too, this unit will be consumed. Indeed, that's what happened. Eliyahu is the man of judgment. Fire comes down from heaven. V'tered esh min hashamayim v'tochal otcha v'et chamishav. It seems we're beginning here an understanding that Ahaziah, like his father, but more like his mother, does not accept the prophets of Israel. He has the chance. He's in bed and he fell. He doesn't realize that from God this matter is coming from. He could recognize it. He could do tshuva. He could do vidoy. He can join Machon Meir.
Like his father.
His father did some tshuva. In the end, not enough. So here, anyone that denies a prophet and prophecy, he's meeting up with fire. Maybe maybe this will convince the king when he hears that the unit that he sent is under fire and they died. Maybe he'll do tshuva as a result. Verse 11, Vayashov, someone comes back, Vayishlach elav sar chamishim acher v'chamishav. The king decides to send another unit, a commander of 50 soldiers. Okay? Vayan vayidaber elav ish Elohim. He now speaks with Eliyahu there up in the mountains. Ko amar hamelech meira reida. Not only does he give him an order, but he says, quickly come down the mountain. In other words, it seems now that we've gone to a higher level of disrespect. Not only is the king extending an order, but he's saying, quickly get down this mountain. Meaning, come go speak with the king. So, yeah, he finds out and he's damaged. He sends another group. He has the ability to do tshuva, but he's not doing it. Pasuk Yud Bet, verse 12, Vayan Eliah. How does he react to the order of the king through this minister? Vayidaber Aleim, he speaks with them with toughness, dibur. Im ish Elohim ani, if I'm the man of God, teredesh min hashamayim, the same thing. Fire will come down, v'tochal otcha, v'tchamishecha, it'll devour you and the entire unit that you have here, the 50 guys. And that's what happens. Vatered esh Elokim min hashamayim, v'tochal oto, v'tchamishav. What's the significance of this chapter here? What is this back, is ping pong going back and turn? And again, we will say that we hear the key words. There's an aliyah and there's the yaridah. He's up there on top, Aliyah. The king is down on the bottom, he fell. Fire comes down, but to do punishment. And again, he's eaten again. What is really the theme of this story? So, before we get to see the third party, we can say that Ahaziah indeed is not only going in his father's footsteps of accepting idolatry, but maybe more so he's going even in his mother's footsteps. And that was to abolish prophecy, to abolish the prophets, to kill the prophets. He doesn't take heed of what the Eliyahu is saying. He has the chance to do tshuva. He has a chance maybe to live. He's on his deathbed. And he hears once and he hears twice. Both parties he sends to Eliyahu. Fire comes down and kills them and burns them. Maybe when you're going up against a prophet, you're playing with fire in a very improper way. Instead, where does he want to go to? The Plishtim's idolatry in the city of Ekron, right next to Rehovot, outside the Gaza Strip. Pasuk Yud Gimel, verse 13. Vayashov goes back. Vayishlach sar chamishim shlishim. He sends a third team. V'chamishav. I don't know how, but I saw that there are those that want to explain that here the minister is sent only without the 50 people accompanying him. I don't see or understand how it's understood from the pasuk. Maybe from the word vayal, and not everyone is going up. Maybe, I don't know. They've arrived to the mountain where Eliyahu is, so maybe the 50 stay down below, and the commander goes up, he climbs the mountain, Vayavo Sarah Chamishim Ashlishi, and now what does he do? Vayichra al birkav leneged Eliyahu. He bows down. He submits himself. So there are two changes here. Number one, maybe the commander is appearing alone. He wants the subject Eliyahu to come with him and come back and speak with the king. And number two, he submits himself by bowing on his knees in front of Eliyahu. And number three, vayitchanen alav. Remember the first two, they gave orders to Eliyahu. Here, he starts supplicating, begging. Vayidaber elav, ish Elohim, the man of God, tikarna nafshi, may my soul be dear, accepted in your eyes. V'nefesh avadecha eila chamishim beinechem. Maybe he's pointing to the 50 soldiers down below. I don't know. Hine, he recounts the situation. Yarda esh min hashamayim v'tochal et shnei sarei chamishim harishonim et chamishim. I know what happened. Fire came down the first 2 times that commanders were sent with their 50 soldiers, and they were burnt. V'ata, but now tikar nafshi, maybe my essence, my soul will be fond in your eyes. Will you accept it? In the middle of this dialogue between the minister and Eliyahu, and again the minister is representing the king Ahaziah, and Ahaziah seems that he doesn't want to do tshuva, he doesn't want to do anything. Twice leaders are burnt. Ahaziah does not want to accept the prophet or the prophecy. Now Hashem intervenes. Pasuk Tedvav, verse 15. Vayidaber malach Hashem el Eliyahu. God sends an angel to appear before the prophet. Raid Oto. The Radak says, what is Oto? Imo. Go down with him. Climb down the mountain. Al tira mipanav, and don't be afraid of him. Vayakom vayered Oto el HaMelech. So here, there's a change. This third situation is not going to be like the first 2. Maybe because he did 2 changes. He submitted himself. He only went up there by himself. He didn't bring 50 soldiers. He didn't give an order, right? He didn't give an order to Eliyahu Navi. So maybe we see that this confrontation is about to happen now between Eliyahu and Ahaziah. Maybe it helps remind us of the confrontation between Eliyahu and this guy's mother, Izebel. Okay? Izebel's after Eliyahu, wants to do bad to Eliyahu. And now we have a new confrontation. Will the king do tshuva or not? Pasuk Tedzayin. Vayidaber elav ko amar Hashem. Yan asher shalachta malachim lidosh bevazvu velo hekron hamibli enelim bisol lidosh bidvaro lachen amita asher alita sham lo tered mimena kimotomot. Eliyahu Hanavi delivers the prophecy by himself. He doesn't need a messenger. He comes by himself and saying, you, the king of Israel, you represent the nation of Israel. You're sick. You're afraid you might die. You want to know what's going to happen tomorrow. And instead of coming to the prophet, you go to who? You go to this idolatry called the Baal Zvuv, which is a low idolatry with the master of flies in the world. That's what you care for? You have at your doorstep prophets all over the country. Instead of that, you go to the idolatry that's by the Plishtim. Therefore, you're going to die, and indeed, he dies. In other words, the question here maybe is there a prophet and prophecy in Israel, or is there no? Maybe that's the point of HaKadosh Baruch Hu killing Ahaziah. He continues the path of his mother. His mother, Izebel, wanted to obliterate, wipe out prophecy and prophets. Hashem says there's no chance for this guy. He doesn't want to do tshuva. He's going to die just like the prophecy was. And indeed he dies. Okay? Remember, this is a major thing, to have a prophet in Am Yisrael. That's how Hashem created the world. If we would not have prophecy, we wouldn't know what's Bereshit Bara Elokim. Who wrote down Bereshit Bara Elokim? Moshe Rabbeinu wrote. Who told him? Hashem. Moshe Rabbeinu became a prophet. Hashem chose him. And he delivered the book of creation and the Chamisha Chumshei Torah. Without prophets and prophecy, we have no Torah whatsoever. So here there's a major crisis that Achav and now his child, Ahaziah, are continuing this terrible path. Let's go to the end of the chapter. Vayamot kidvar Adonai asher diber Eliyahu vayimloch Yoram tachta b'shnat 2 liYoram ben Yoshafat melech Yehuda ki lo haya lo ben. So that's it. He dies, Ahaziah dies exactly like Hashem prophesied to Eliyahu. And There's one son called Yoram. That's really the brother, I'm sorry. Okay? This is the first time that instead of a son coming and becoming a prophet, a brother of the deceased is the prophet. Some ask, why? Because the answer is, Ahaziah did not have a child. Ahaziah did not have a child. And therefore, Ahaziah is a king. He has no child. His brother, the son of Achav, is now going to rule. He's going to be the new king. And this happens in the second year in Yerushalayim, where the son of Yoshaphat, Yehoram, is ruling. That's what the Tanakh says, Kilo Aya Loben. Okay? V'yetu divrei Ahaziah asher asah Eloheim haktuvim al Sefer divrei Yamim lemalchei Yisrael. So, we saw something very interesting here. I heard this from Rav Mordechai Franco. We saw two different verbs, opposing verbs, vayal and raid, vayal and raid. There's a battle here. Who's going up and who's going down? The king wants to be on top. The king wants to give orders. The king even wants to speed up his orders. He wants to tell the prophet what to do. But Hashem doesn't allow the king to go up. Hashem says you're going to be going down and down and down. Eliyahu is on top of the mountain. But interesting, we should ask ourselves, what is he doing on top of the mountain? Is he a Breslover? Is he calling out, Rabbi Menachem or something? Why is he on top of the mountain? So there's likelihood that maybe he fears confrontation. That, these people are the people that try to wipe me out beforehand, right? Achav and his wife. Although Achav is maybe not alive anymore, and maybe his wife has died as well. But who knows? He's staying and keeping a distance. And people are going up to him. And he says, I'm not going down. The fact that he says, I'm not going down, fire is going to come down, is showing the might of Eliyahu. I'm on an aliyah. Prophets are on an aliyah. We're ascending, and you're going down. And what does go down is the fire. And anyone that denies prophecy, we can say as an answer, he's dealing with fire. He's dealing with fire. So, B'ezrat Hashem, we'll begin tomorrow, Perek Bet.